Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Used of the third or next to final year in United States high school or college. The junior class. A son who has the same first name as his father. A third-year undergraduate. Including or intended for youthful persons. A junior sports league. Term of address for a disrespectful and annoying male. Look here, junior, it's none of your business. The younger of two persons. She is 2 years my junior. Younger. Lower in rank. Shorter in length of tenure or service. Second last. The figures in the next to last column. Used of the third or next to final year in United States high school or college. Used of the third or next to final year in United States high school or college. A third-year student. A son who has the same first name as his father. A son who has the same first name as his father. Around the middle of a scale of evaluation. Intermediate capacity. Act between parties with a view to reconciling differences. A substance formed during a chemical process before the desired product is obtained. Lying between two extremes in time or space or state. Going from sitting to standing without intermediate pushes with the hands. Of crops, harvested at an early stage of development, before complete maturity. Young corn. United States Civil Rights Leader, 1921 to 1971. United States religious leader of the Mormon Church after the assassination of Joseph Smith. He led the Mormon exodus from Illinois to Salt Lake City, Utah, 1801 to 1877. British physicist and Egyptologist. He revived the wave theory of light and proposed a three-component theory of color vision. He also played an important role in deciphering the hieroglyphics on the Rosetta Stone, 1773 to 1829. Suggestive of youth, vigorous and fresh. He is young for his age. United States baseball player and famous pitcher, 1867 to 1955. United States film and television actress, 1913 to 2000. Any immature animal. Young people collectively. Rock music appeals to the young. Used of living things, especially persons, in an early period of life or development or growth. Young people. Not tried or tested by experience. A young hand at plowing. English poet, 1683 to 1765. United States jazz tenor saxophonist, 1909 to 1959. Being in its early stage. A young industry. Of birds, not yet having developed feathers. Used of living things, especially persons, in an early period of life or development or growth. Not fully developed or mature, not ripe. Characteristic of a lack of maturity. Immature behavior. Not yet mature. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Of humble, or lowly, birth. Low or inferior in station or quality. A lowly parish priest. Used of unskilled work, especially domestic work. Inferior in rank or status. A lowly corporal. Not of legal age. Minor children. Relatively moderate, limited, or small. A young person of either sex. Warranting only temporal punishment. Have as one's secondary field of study. In college she minored in mathematics. Inferior in number or size or amount. A minor share of the profits. Of a scale or mode, having half steps between the second and third degrees, and, usually, the fifth and sixth degrees, and the seventh and eighth degrees. The minor keys. Of lesser importance or stature or rank. A minor poet. Of the younger of two boys with the same family name. Jones minor. Lesser in scope or effect. Had minor differences. Of lesser seriousness or danger. Suffered only minor injuries. Of your secondary field of academic concentration or specialization. Contemptibly narrow in outlook. Petty little comments. Informal, small and of little importance. Limited to petty enterprises. Larceny of property having a value less than some amount, the amount varies by locale. Inferior in rank or status. Petty officialdom. Coil such that current is induced in it by passing a current through the primary coil. Inferior in rank or status. Being of second rank or importance or value, not direct or immediate. The stone will be hauled to a secondary crusher. Belonging to a lower class or rank. Depending on or incidental to what is original or primary. A secondary infection. Not of major importance. Played a secondary role in world events. The defensive football players who line up behind the lineman. Inferior in rank or status. A British commissioned army officer below the rank of captain. Inferior in rank or status. Used of the younger of two persons of the same name, especially used to distinguish a son from his father. Used of the younger of two persons of the same name, especially used to distinguish a son from his father. Inferior in rank or status. Of a clause, unable to stand alone syntactically as a complete sentence. A subordinate, or dependent, clause functions as a noun or adjective or adverb within a sentence. A word that is more specific than a given word. Make subordinate, dependent, or subservient. Our wishes have to be subordinated to that of our ruler. An assistant subject to the authority or control of another. Lower in rank or importance. Rank or order is less important or consider of less value. Art is sometimes subordinated to science in these schools. Subject or submissive to authority or the control of another. A subordinate kingdom. The divine Word of God, the second person in the Trinity, incarnate in Jesus. A male human offspring. Their son became a famous judge. A male human offspring. His boy is taller than he is. A youthful male person. The baby was a boy. A friendly informal reference to a grown man. He likes to play golf with the boys. An undergraduate who is not yet a senior. An undergraduate who is not yet a senior. A person who has suddenly risen to a higher economic status but has not gained social acceptance of others in that class. Characteristic of someone who has risen economically or socially but lacks the social skills appropriate for this new position. A person who has suddenly risen to a higher economic status but has not gained social acceptance of others in that class. Characteristic of someone who has risen economically or socially but lacks the social skills appropriate for this new position. A person who has suddenly risen to a higher economic status but has not gained social acceptance of others in that class. Of or characteristic of a parvenu. Characteristic of someone who has risen economically or socially but lacks the social skills appropriate for this new position. A person who has suddenly risen to a higher economic status but has not gained social acceptance of others in that class. A gymnastic exercise performed starting from a position with the legs over the upper body and moving to an erect position by arching the back and swinging the legs out and down while forcing the chest upright. An arrogant or presumptuous person. A human being. Causing or capable of causing death. Mortal combat. A human being. Involving loss of divine grace or spiritual death. Subject to death. Mortal beings. Unrelenting and deadly. Mortal enemy. The immaterial part of a person, the actuating cause of an individual life. Deep feeling or emotion. A human being. A secular form of gospel that was a major black musical genre in the 1960s and 1970s. Soul was politically significant during the civil rights movement. The human embodiment of something. The soul of honor. Characteristic of or meant for a single person or thing. An individual serving. Being or characteristic of a single thing or person. Individual drops of rain. A human being. Separate and distinct from others of the same kind. Mark the individual pages. Concerning one person exclusively. We all have individual cars. A single organism. A human being. There was too much for one person to do. A grammatical category used in the classification of pronouns, possessive determiners, and verb forms according to whether they indicate the speaker, the addressee, or a third party. Stop talking about yourself in the third person. A human body, usually including the clothing. A weapon was hidden on his person.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.